Welcome back to PSS, everyone, and welcome to the first of a series that I'm calling Heavy Reflection, which is going to be a hodgepodge of whatever's on my mind, really, and things that I don't feel like is going to fit in any other series. If it's maybe even reviews that are outdated or just content that's not exactly timely, but still stuff and topics I'd like to talk about, we're going to put it in here. Hence the Heavy Reflection, get it? Because it's heavy metal, and I'm thinking, God, that's the worst wordplay of all time. So today's episode is going to be, once again, about the Nintendo Switch. Once again, meaning that I've reviewed this thing already. I'm going to be talking about kind of my post-thoughts after using it for a little while longer, using it on the go a lot, and just the general quality of life that I've had surrounding the product, and what I think of it kind of as a, an overall amendment to my review. So go check that out if you are interested in the console in the least. You can always come back here or stick through if you don't give a damn. I'm not a cop. Do whatever you want. So I've had this thing since launch day on March 3rd. Played it a lot. I have up to date put in almost 35 hours into Breath of the Wild, which is not a whole lot considering how big the game is. Put a little over 10 into both Shovel Knight and Fast RMX. Really enjoying both of those games as well. And I have flown with this thing on two separate occasions, technically there and back, over spring break. So I'm going to start off a little bit with that because that was kind of the big game changer moment with the thing and made me really solidify my thoughts on it. So first off, going through security, TSA, I had multiple TSA agents wanting to see it. I took the case, which I have the little Sheikah carrying case that comes with the special edition, took it out of my bag, and I know you technically don't have to, it's only for like laptops and stuff, but when you're a weird looking dude like me and you're carrying strange looking objects that may look terroristy to people and it's hard to x-ray through and it's blocking stuff, it's just easier to take it out and just, let the guys deal with it. But they had it and someone was like, hey, what's in there? And I was like, oh, it's the Nintendo Switch. He's like, you have a Switch? Can I see it? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I took it out, showed him how the Joy-Cons worked. He's like, oh god, I gotta get me one. So there was already a little bit of hype surrounding it there. Both going to and from my location, I saw 3 grown men playing the Switch, all of which looked far older than me, which is really cool. I'm assuming they're around my parents' age when the NES and SNES was brand new. So I'm glad to see that kind of excitement is back. And it also makes me think that maybe public gaming isn't so unacceptable anymore. I mean, used to, if I even saw people with a 3DS in public, even I was like, whoa, really? More so just shocked to see it, but nowadays it's like, oh, it's cool. I think we somewhat have mobile games to thank for that, even if they are crap in comparison to, the kind of stuff that's on here. But at least that is a good side effect. So my flight was almost 4 hours, right on the dot, and I took off with 100% battery, and I was in the middle of the Spectre Knight DLC for Shovel Knight, and I said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to play that, because I don't want to get too invested in a Zelda quest, considering its battery life is only like 3 hours. So I popped it in, and I played for at least 3/4 of the way there. I just rested my eyes for a little while, listened to music on my phone, but I still landed with 70% battery, which is crazy, considering that I played at least 2.5 hours, and that's putting it on the low end. So for an indie game like that isn't so demanding, I think they've undershot their battery life because, according to my findings, it's about a time and a third, a time and a half higher, but I was using a lower screen brightness, which I figure a lot of people will. I mean, if they're conscious about battery life, I doubt you're going to have it cranked all the way up. It was a daytime flight, and the windows were down, the window shades were down, so it wasn't a big deal. So I was able to take advantage of a lower screen brightness to save battery, but I was really impressed with that. I could have flown all day and not been bored, which is really cool. Didn't play it a whole lot over the break, obviously, because I was busy, but to and from in the past few days, hooked up to the TV playing Zelda. I have been, and this thing was an amazing travel buddy. It was an insane upgrade from the 2DS, which is what I had last summer when I flew a bunch. And I get some of the criticism this thing has garnered. I get some of the criticism that some of the games have garnered. But I really can't fault a lot of these things for, number one, a $300 console. Number 2, a $300 handheld console. You know, I understand why Nintendo marketed it so hard as a console you take on the go, because that implies you're going to get console quality games and frame rates and resolutions, even though that's not entirely the case, on the go. What this is to me, though, is the highest quality handheld ever built that you can hook up to your TV, and that shows in the handheld mode. It's much more impressive in handheld than it is on the TV. And that's why I don't understand a whole lot of the criticisms with stuff like this. Yes, it does come packaged with it. It is the default input, but this is the way I feel like it's really meant to be played. And in this orientation, it's like, wow, this is really a handheld. It's really cool. I've seen people that have modded the grip, have cut this in half to have it be a little bit more hand support and glued it on the back. While cool, I don't feel it's necessary. I put up with the 2DS for several months. That thing is not ergonomic in the least. This thing feels like it was molded to your hands in comparison. So a little bit of my bias, but it's pretty good there. The short thumbsticks I don't have a problem with. Everything's just been an amazing handheld experience. So as a travel console, I don't think you're going to really beat it. And that's something that I couldn't have really told you in the review, because I did play around with it, you know, going around the house, but not a whole lot else. But now that I've actually had to sit down with it for an extended amount of time, it's fine. It doesn't, like the games I was playing, the fans never even spun up. It was cool. It was quiet. And with earbuds, it was loud enough. It was plenty loud. I had it turned down a couple notches with my $25 Skull Candies. With these, however, these HD 598s, they are pretty quiet. Now, playing in this room by myself, no background noise, it's plenty loud, it's fine. But if there's other stuff going on, I want noise canceling, it's really not loud enough, and it's because of the impedance of these headphones. So this thing is really designed for low impedance cans, I would imagine, so keep that in mind. That is one complaint I would kind of have. I'm sure it could be adjusted in firmware, and it's really a game-to-game phenomenon, because Fast RMX is, I noticed, quite a bit louder than Legend of Zelda, so I feel like that's just an update that needs to happen. Other things for me, I'm not one of the people affected by the left Joy-Con issue going out of sync. It works fine with me. If I sit between this and the tablet really far back with a lot of crap in between it, I'll notice it gets kind of shaky for aiming, but that's kind of what controllers do, so that's like a use case that I have to impose upon myself, so once again, I don't really mind. Screen has been fine for me. I carefully take it in and out of the dock. I've been using pennies, like I showed in the review, to kind of stretch out the dock a little bit, because they have confirmed that the docks were squished a little bit, resulting in it, you know, adding a bit more pressure here than it probably should have, but I've had no problems. I don't see myself buying a screen protector anytime soon if I continue using it the way I have. Any little grease does tend to get in between the buttons and mark up the finish of the console over time. I've been trying to, you know, clean it every now and then. It's not a huge deal to me, just something else to be aware of. Some people have even reported that skins haven't been a big deal with them. Apparently, the reports that I showed on the review of D-Brand absolutely just marring up the finish of these things was because they took it on and off like 100 times, which any other product wouldn't be a problem, but I feel like for a regular user, if you only change the skin like twice over the life cycle of this thing, then I don't think you should care all that much. Just something to point out. Since I last reviewed this, there's been several games added to the Nintendo eShop, including the newest Binding of Isaac and its DLC, which is pretty cool. Games are still a little bit lackluster. We're waiting on Splatoon 2's test fire to come out as of recording this very soon, and of course Mario Kart 8 will be out in April. So really it's still a Zelda machine, unless you just want to play Fast RMX and Shovel Knight, some other indies like I do. There's plenty more value on other consoles if you're just playing at home, but once again, this thing is just a ridiculously good portable, which is what I've been using it for. Also, on the home setting, I've never felt the need to upgrade this thing. Never really felt that spending $70 on a Pro Controller was needed. these things work fine to me. Going back and forth between this and an Xbox One controller has felt really weird sometimes, but more so getting used to that thing more than the Joy-Cons. They're small, but they fit just fine, and I really, unless it's gifted to me, I really don't think I want to buy a Pro controller because, I don't know, I just don't feel the need to, especially playing games at like 30 FPS. How much more can it help me be precise? It's already comfortable, so whatever. And one final big thing I've learned since reviewing this thing is that there is apparently a firmware issue with the GPU on this, which might be causing a lot of those frame rate drops and even lowering the resolution on fast RMX, which I'm hoping could be patched and fixed, but apparently there's some resource allocation issues. So that might explain why Breath of the Wild runs better in handheld than it does upscaled, 900p on a TV. And apparently Fast RMX was originally designed to be 1080p all the time, but that's why they threw in the adaptive resolution scaling. So I look forward to hopefully an update over the next couple of months that will address those things. Neither of them are a big enough problem for me to even, dock a score if I were to give either game or system a numerical score, but it is noticeable, and I would very much like to see a little bit better eye candy and fast or a little bit better performance in some areas in Breath of the Wild, because there's a couple areas in heavily grass and wooded areas that just, oh my god, it's pretty bad. But other than that, that's all the really major things that have concerned me since owning this thing. I've put, like I said, over 50 hours over the last few weeks into this in my spare time. I really enjoyed it. It's been a great thing for my gaming habits, I feel like. Whereas on PC, I kind of have to play for at least 30 minutes, especially just type of multiplayer games. Generally, matches run long, but even then, where I'm here, I'm sat down, it's like, I don't want to do anything else once I'm in the mode. Kind of same with console. With this thing, even if I do dock it, it's like, oh, well, I can do whatever task I want for 15 minutes, put it to sleep, come back to it whenever I feel like it, and I'm ready to go again, or if I'm going somewhere, pick it up. I feel like this is the best thing for an adult gamer to have. And obviously games aren't quite there yet as far as availability goes, but yeah, just being able to grab it on the go and play whenever you feel like and putting it to sleep immediately and it coming right back to life is invaluable to a busy person with, without a set schedule. So I think that's something that they really, really could use to market more, because it's maybe not quite a quantitative feature, but definitely something that is tangible for a lot of people, me included. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. I've enjoyed it so much, I'm considering buying freaking amiibos for the first time in my life, because now I want items Breath of the Wild and I want some decoration. They're going to get a lot more of my money than I intended to this generation, but it's what happens every time I switch a platform or get a new one. So yeah, that's been my random thoughts about Nintendo Switch since owning it and traveling with it and playing with it a little bit more. Things that I couldn't have said after a few days reviewing it the best I could, but like I said, I feel like there's a place for initial impressions and final, or later impressions for these types of products. You can never get everything in just doing one or the other. So yeah, I'll be done talking about this thing for a while unless it explodes or knock on particle board that it doesn't nothing goes wrong with it. But I've been really happy with this thing coming from this behemoth over here, and I look forward to putting a lot more hours into nice games, including Legend of Zelda and the expansion pass that I just blew part of my 2DS trade-in on. So hopefully that's good. If it's I guess as decent as Dark Souls DLC has been over the past few months, then I'll be happy. So yeah, that's the first rendition of Heavy Reflection. I don't know if this was worth your time or not, but hey, I got stuff out of the way that I wanted to talk about and that I couldn't in a review, because time is a linear phenomenon to humans, even though it's probably not. So yeah, catch you next time with probably something music related if I get my way. Though we'll be talking about all things games, tech, and metal on this show, just like we do this channel. So, yeah, be sure to stick around, and we'll see you next time when we talk about, yeah, probably some music, if I had to imagine. Bye!